These are not the books they assigned in school. Those books were designed to pass tests. These ones were designed to change trajectories, to shift the way a man thinks about money, risk, business, and time, permanently, irreversibly, in ways that compound over decades, into outcomes that look from the outside like extraordinary talent or extraordinary luck. They are neither. Warren Buffett credits one book, Read at 19, with the entire foundation of his investment philosophy. A philosophy worth, at last count, over $100 billion. One book, Read Young, applied consistently for 70 years. Elon Musk taught himself rocket science from textbooks, not from a degree, not from a professor, from books he chose, read obsessively, and applied to problems no one else believed were solvable. Jay-Z has spoken publicly about how literature shaped his thinking on ownership, power, and business, long before anyone called him a mogul. The wealthiest people alive are, without exception, obsessive readers. And the titles on this list are not bestseller padding. They are the specific books that appear again and again in the libraries of people who built 9- and 10-figure fortunes. They are the specific books that appear again and again in the libraries of people who built 9- and 10-figure fortunes. 10 books, each one worth more than most university degrees. Stay until number 1. It is the book that changes not just what you know about money, but how you behave with it. Welcome to Sovereign Wealth. The education starts here. Let's get into it. Thomas Stanley spent decades doing something almost no one else had done, actually studying millionaires, not the ones on magazine covers. What he found destroyed every cultural assumption about what wealth looks like. The average American millionaire does not live in a mansion, does not drive a Ferrari, does not wear designer clothing or frequent expensive restaurants. They live in the same house for 20 years. They drive used cars bought with cash. They track their spending meticulously. They invest the gap between what they earn and what they spend. And they are largely invisible. This book does not teach you how to get rich. It shows you what being rich actually looks like, and it resets the entire mental model. Napoleon Hill spent 20 years studying and interviewing the most successful industrialists in American history: Carnegie, Ford, Edison, Rockefeller. Published in 1937, still in print, still on the shelves of men building 9-figure businesses today. The central insight: that thought directed with intention, backed by burning desire, and converted into a definite plan of action, has a direct relationship with financial outcome. Because the principle is not about positive thinking. It is about the relationship between clarity of purpose, specificity of goal, and quality of execution. It holds. Warren Buffett has called this the best book on investing ever written. He is not in the habit of casual recommendations. Benjamin Graham wrote it in 1949. Buffett read it at 19 and has credited it as the single most important intellectual influence on his career. The concept of margin of safety, the Mr. Market metaphor, buying assets below intrinsic value and holding with patience. These ideas are worth $100 billion. That is the return on one book. Read it, then read it again in 5 years. You will understand entirely different things the second time. The difference was not intelligence. It was what each man understood about how money works. Assets put money in your pocket. Liabilities take money out. A luxury beachfront villa versus a modest, cluttered office. High contrast. The difference was not intelligence. It was what each man understood about how money works. Assets put money in your pocket. Liabilities take money out. Most people spend their lives buying liabilities, cars, status symbols, and calling them assets. The wealthy buy things that generate income. The simplicity of the framework is a feature. It filters every financial decision you make for the rest of your life. If someone hasn't read this, give them a copy. Most businesses fail. Michael Gerber spent his career understanding precisely why. The answer is almost always the same. The person who starts the business is usually exceptional at the work, but exceptional skill at the work is not sufficient to build a successful business doing it. Building a business requires systems, processes, structures. Gerber calls this the entrepreneurial myth, the distinction between working in the business and working on it. Every entrepreneur who has not read this book is making mistakes that this book would have prevented. It is the manual for systems. Peter Thiel co-founded PayPal. He was the first investor in Facebook. In 0 to 1, he argues that competition is not the goal, monopoly is. Every truly valuable company, Thiel argues, is a monopoly at something. Google owns search. Apple owns the premium smartphone experience. Amazon owns fulfillment at scale. The companies that generate extraordinary returns are the ones that build something that nobody else has and then defend it. He calls the starting point a secret, something one person believes that the consensus says is wrong. Every billion-dollar company began as a secret. Every billion-dollar company began as a secret that one person was willing to act on while everyone else was not. Darren Hardy made one truth impossible to ignore. Small disciplines repeated consistently produce results that look impossible from the starting line. The compound effect applies to everything: habits, relationships, health, knowledge. There is no neutral position. Every day you are moving in a direction. The gap between where you are and where the most successful men are was built in thousands of small decisions, made daily in both directions over years. This book shows you how to make yours go the right way, not through dramatic transformation, but through the accumulation of small, correct decisions made every single day. Ray Dalio built Bridgewater Associates into the largest hedge fund in the world. Principles is the operating system he used to do it, not motivational content. Specific, actionable principles for making decisions, developed across 40 years of building a financial institution. The idea meritocracy, believability-weighted decision-making. Consistent decisions require an operating system. This is one of the best ever made public. Bill Gates called it one of his favorite books. Tony Robbins called it a masterpiece. The men who build consistently are the men who make consistent decisions. Consistent decisions require an operating system. This is one of the best ever made public. Identity-based habits, the 2-minute rule, habit stacking, environment design as the most powerful tool for behavior change available to any man willing to use it. Goals are what you want. Systems are what you do. What you do automatically determines where you end up, not your goals, your systems. The difference is that the wealthy man has a system running, automatically, habitually, invisibly, that makes wealth building the path of least resistance. The difference is that the wealthy man has a system running, automatically, habitually, invisibly, that makes wealth building the path of least resistance. Identity-based habits. The 2-minute rule. Build your systems from it. Morgan Housel spent his career asking one question: why do intelligent people make terrible financial decisions? The answer, documented across hundreds of case studies and decades of market history, has almost nothing to do with intelligence. It has everything to do with behavior. Doing well with money is less about what you know, and almost entirely about how you behave under pressure. Buffett built wealth by being patient when everyone else was impatient, by staying in when everyone else left. Behavior is the edge that cannot be copied. You can steal someone's strategy. You cannot steal their behavior under pressure. This book shows you how to build yours. Start with where you are. 10 books, available for the price of a dinner each. Finish one before you pick up the next. Then tell us which one changed the way you think. Drop a comment right now. Which one of these hits closest to home for you? One word. Let us see it. If Sovereign Wealth gave you something real today, hit the like button. Subscribe. New sessions every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The moves are happening in real time. And share this with one person who needs to hear it. We will see you in the next one.